This isn't even going on it, so just thinking random stuff. I actually have my own YouTube channel. Not nearly as cool as Becca's. I work at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, you should say that.
I should say that.
You should really say that.
I should say that. Hi, my name's James, and Becca invited me onto her YouTube channel this afternoon so that I could go ahead and give my testimony. And a little bit about myself. I'm an intercollegiate tennis player. I work at Chick-fil-A, and I'm going into the Army. Yeah, so I grew up in a Christian home. My dad's a pastor. My mom, perfect little Christian woman, loves Jesus so much. Really loves being involved with her kids and how we glorify God in everything we do. When it came to sports, school, I went to a public high school, played a lot of sports, basketball, football, baseball, soccer, tennis. And yeah, so growing up, we went through Awana programs, Sunday school, youth group, fellowship of Christian athletes. I was involved in all of these things when I was in high school, and still wouldn't define myself as a Christian at that point in my life, even though I could probably fool anyone into thinking that I was, including my own parents. When it comes to pretending to be a Christian or thinking that you are, I really didn't come to the realization that I wasn't a Christian until I was recently saved. As I got to college, I really wanted to redefine myself. In high school, I was just busy playing sports, kind of doing my thing. When I got to college, I really started caring about my social life. People thought I was cool. People thought I was fun to be around. I wanted legitimate attention for being cool from people and being accepted. And that led to going to parties, drinking a lot, sleeping around with girls, which not necessarily something I'm proud of at this moment. I was really trying to live my life and not the life that God gave me to glorify Him. So that's something I've really come to the realization of, that if you're not living for God, you're living for yourself. It's pretty clear by your actions and the fruit that you're bearing. So I was actually involved in the Army ROTC program on my campus, and I ended up taking the lazy way out on one of the papers and plagiarized the paper. I ended up actually turning myself in for it and talking to one of the captains about it, and they removed me from the ROTC program, and that was a real moment for me. And instead of turning to God, I started turning to trying to just distract myself with as many things as I could, especially irresponsible life decisions. That's actually when I started playing intercollegiate tennis, which probably kept me out of a lot more trouble than I thought. Getting drunk, everything was involved around, being with a girl, getting a girl, trying to hang out with a girl, sleeping with a girl. My life really revolved around going to parties and making myself look as good as I could around my buddies with whatever girl I could. So that's that. Towards the end of the semester, after I'd been kicked out of ROTC and really becoming very involved in partying and everything like that, I actually found a lot of emptiness in that. You find that there's a lot of shallow relationships there. There aren't a lot of people that are going to be willing to go the extra mile for you because they just know you as the fun person, the person who wants to just go out and drink and just have a good time. When you define yourself as someone who lives for the shallow things, you're not going to have relationships that are very deep. And I found that out pretty quick. So after coming to this big realization that a lot of these friendships and relationships were really shallow and not there, I decided that it was probably about time for me to consistently start attending church again. Just, staying involved, because I always knew that the church family was somewhere safe, that I could be somewhere that I would have attention that was very loving, attention that was very joyful. And that was something I was really desiring, something that was definitely missing from my life for about 2.5 years. Outside of my family, my parents are awesome. Like, Mom, Dad, you guys rock. But yeah, so I'm at this church, and the pastor's up there, and he's preaching from James chapter 2, and he poses the question, what are you living for in your life? And he's standing on the stage, and he's like, are you living for the next drink? Are you living for the next party? Are you living for the next girl? And I'm sitting there like, dude, you gotta stop preaching at me. Like, I wanted to go up there and just ask him to stop. I probably wanted to punch him. Like, there were so many emotions being tugged at me in that moment that I was just breaking down. And I go to the back of the church, just kind of get some space and stand by myself. And there's one of my best buddies on campus, Weston, and he sees that I'm just emotionally, like spiritually just shredded. Just gives me a hug, and all my weight was on him, and I was just crying and, apologizing to God for everything I'd been doing, just living a life that was not worthy of him, a life that was glorifying or gratifying to him. That really tore me apart. That was easily like plagiarizing paper and getting kicked out of ROTC is one thing, but like rebelling and like realizing you're rebelling against like the creator of the world and like someone who has this agape love for you is just like, that's a whole nother beast. And Wes and I, we're in the back and church is singing, and I'm just crying and he's just praying over me. And it was honestly one of the most rejuvenating moments in my life. I really began to hate what I'd been living for and immediately stopped cold turkey. Everything that I was doing, all these irresponsible life decisions, people I was associating with, I was adding people off Snapchat, unfollowing people on Instagram, unfollowing all these fraternity accounts on Instagram, that anything on Instagram that objectified a woman that I'd been following, just immediately went through all that stuff and got rid of it. I was not a Christian before that moment in my life. Before November 3rd, 2017, I had a one-way ticket to hell, and there's no doubt about it in my mind. I was not bearing any fruit as a Christian. I was not waking up every morning and trying to dedicate what I was doing that day to God. I was not trying to glorify God in anything I did. I might know the Bible stories. I might know that Jesus died on the cross, but I wasn't living like I knew it. I wasn't living like I accepted it. I didn't have faith in it. And just the joy of waking up every morning knowing that you're glorifying God, knowing that you can have an impact on someone's life, knowing that you are doing something for someone who's died on a cross for you, and just, it's unreal. But there's also the realization of the things that you've perverted. Like my future marriage, I've perverted the most, the best gift that God's given between a man and a woman, and having premarital sex. So that's something that really hit me hard. That's something that I really contemplate a lot. But that's a very real struggle, and that's a very real thing that I did. Probably the coolest thing I did was something that was 500% out of my comfort zone after I became a Christian. I'd actually gone up to Becca and told her, I was like, listen, Jesus, right here, like here. And we're sitting in chapel. She just texted me during chapel. Like, what? We're sitting in chapel. Our small Christian university. My phone's going off. I'm like, who's texting me during chapel? It's Becca. There's a screenshot of a testimony night on campus. And I remember texting her back, no, with the period. Like, you can say no, and then when you say no with the period, it's like not happening at all. And she's like, no, I think you should really do this. I was like, nah, I don't think so. I literally woke up the next day and God's like, hey James, guess what? You're speaking at testimony night. And I emailed the guy who's running it, and they had all their guest speakers filled. So I wasn't gonna be able to speak. And I was like, oh, whatever. Like, I'll still show up and support whoever's giving their testimony. I think it'd be really cool for me to do that. And a couple hours before the testimony night, one of the girls who was supposed to speak drops out. And the guy heading it emails me and says, come to the chapel right now. I wanna hear what you have to say. You're speaking tonight. And I was like, this is just like a wave of like change and emotion. I was like, oh, nuts, here we go. And I ended up giving my testimony, and it was awesome. The feedback I got, the friends that came up to me and told me that they'd been praying about me, praying for me. Just the power of prayer was so real that night. Was awesome. Oh yeah, and Becca didn't even show up to testimony night. You don't have to put that in.
No. Tell them how I prayed for you for a year. And I didn't even tell you that.
I actually had multiple people come up to me and tell me like, oh, I've been praying for you for a while, and things of that sort. One of the kids who was helping out with the tennis team comes up to me and says, dude, I've been praying for you for the last like 6-7 weeks. And I had literally accepted Christ like 5 weeks before that. So I'm like crying in this kid's arm. Then another kid that I'd been playing soccer with on campus for a long time, Kendrick's been on this channel. Kendrick comes up to me and he's just sobbing, like crying. He's like, dude, I've been praying about this for 2 years. This is unreal. This is insane. Like the realization of this. And then Rebecca and I, we like try to get dinner like once a week and just talk about life and just be real with each other. And I'm like, hey, like this is awesome. Like all this and everything. She's like, yeah, you've been in my prayer journal for like a year. And that was the first time I almost cried in front of Becca. Did I cry?
Mm-mm.
I didn't cry. It's okay to be vulnerable. But just the realization that people had been praying for me was awesome. The change in my life has been unreal. It's amazing what prayer and like dedicating your life to just waking up and like doing your devotions and going out and living those devotions on a daily basis and trying to glorify God with everything you do. Like it's the most unreal change that I've ever had in my life, and it's the most unreal change anyone will have in their life. And just accepting that Jesus is your Savior. Jesus did die on the cross to redeem us. It's awesome. The redemption that we find in Jesus is unreal. So this is my story of redemption, and it's just getting started.
Oh my gosh, so good.
I have goosebumps. Can I see the goosebumps?
No.
Becca has to pretend to be tall.
It's even worse.
You're just gonna say, hey, beautiful people.
I'm not gonna say that. So fun fact, James is one of the people back in March, if you were on my channel, that I had been praying for a long time, and I was like super discouraged. I made a video literally talking about how discouraged I was, and he was one of those people. So I'm sitting here today saying God answers prayer, because this guy is an example of that. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, he killed it. I think you should make a YouTube channel. If you also think you should make a YouTube channel, you should comment that below.
I have a YouTube channel.
Oh, that's true. If you think you should make a
theological YouTube channel,
a Christian YouTube channel, you should tell him that in the comment section below. Do you know my outro?
What's your outro?
No.
Is it goodbye, beautiful people? No? You're beautiful?
So loved and so beautiful. Almost. We'll try again. Have a great day and know that you are so loved and so beautiful. Yay!
Hope that you do talking videos.
And they're just gonna find like random like music videos.
Like, what is this?
My name's James, and I'm 6'5", and I can't be on Becca's YouTube channel because it has a height limit.